What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another post game here on Rangers Central as the Rangers take down the Boston Bruins 5-2 in their third preseason game. I realized I forgot to go live on Twitter. That's why the viewer count's low right now. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but all I know is that for how down I have felt on this team, well, not necessarily down. I should say that, I guess you could say down. I don't know what word you want to use. I don't know what the right word would be. But I'm trying to think of the right word to use, honestly. I guess after an underwhelming offseason with how much I felt meh about this team going into the year, I could tell you right now, a game like that fires me the fuck up. I can't even lie right now. That game had me feeling some type of way, even though it's preseason, because I'm watching Victor Mancini just absolutely... I mean, he is just taking over at this point. I mean, this kid right now, if he does not make the team on opening night, I have legitimate questions that I want to ask Chris Drury myself, because at that point, I don't know what the hell is happening in the front office if they're not seeing what we're seeing. Because right now, this kid is winning himself a roster spot because of the fact that Ryan Lindgren is hurt. I want to make that very clear because, I mean, even if not, this would probably be like he's putting up a legitimate argument. But with Ryan Lindgren hurt and the way that Mancini is playing right now, there's literally zero reason right now to not put Ryan Lindgren on IR or LTIR to start the year and put Victor Mancini on this roster to start in the lineup, because he has been doing every little thing right. I mean, this is just, and I know that people are saying in the chat already, you didn't have questions about the front office already. I mean, I obviously do, but I'll have further questions. Let's put it that way. If Victor Mancini's not on the roster, did you guys see? I mean, I'm sure everyone saw. If you're watching my channel, you're a hardcore fan. Like, only hardcore fans are tuning into Rangers Central on a Thursday night to talk about a preseason game 3. That play, I think it was the second period, I could be wrong, where he's just dancing with the puck in the offensive zone, fed it to Sam Carrick behind the net, gets a scoring opportunity after right in front. Beautiful. And then the way that he was moving his feet the entire night, the way that he was battling for the net front position in front of his own net, the way that he was lifting sticks, the way that he was breaking the puck out, the way that he was just skating with the puck, just everything this kid's doing is what I want to see from a defenseman. And I said this in the group chat that I'm in with Matt, Nick, and Nico, and Joe. I said this in our group chat that right now, like, what we're seeing from Mancini is the type of play I want to see from Keandre Miller on a nightly basis. And we're seeing it from a kid that was drafted just a few years ago in the 5th round that is winning himself potentially a roster spot. We got a lot to get into in this game when we talk about this game, I should say. Before we do, leave a like, of course, if you guys do enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel. There is not one bad thing, honestly, to say. I mean, I will even pull up the stat card from tonight's game and look at how beautiful it is. Brendan Othmann, after being at the bottom last game, and obviously the charts only mean so much, but shout out to, at the top right is the plug for Hockey Stat Cards for the data that they do. I take a lot of stock into these because most of the time, whenever I look at these charts after the games, they pretty much match my eye test of what I saw in the game. And I mean, this pretty much backs everything that I saw. Victor Mancini being just an absolute dog in the defensive zone. You got Brendan Othmann, who was playing unbelievable. How about him chipping in for a scoring opportunity, or just scoring a goal, I should say, where Zadorov coughs the puck up, and then it goes back into the neutral zone. Othmann's moving his feet. He gets the puck, scores on a breakaway. Beautiful. And then there was a play later on in the game in the 3rd period. He strips the puck, sets up 2 beautiful scoring opportunities for himself and Adam Ernie, which Adam Ernie is the only guy who was at the bottom of the card, and really the only guy outside of Connor Mackey that I could really say had a terrible game. Outside of that, I would have liked to have seen more from maybe some veterans like Keandre Miller, Sam Carrick, who could be fighting for a spot on opening night, because Johnny Brodzinski had himself a game if we're looking at the card here, and the eye test backs that up, that Johnny Brodzinski the goal aside, just looked a lot better than Sam Carrick. And then on top of that, Adam Edstrom continues to impress in these preseason games. And then the only other veteran that I maybe would have wanted to see more of, or from, I should say, is Mika Zibanejad, especially with the way Riley Smith and Chris Kreider were tonight, because those two look like they just have natural chemistry together right now. Like the way that Riley Smith was playing, and it does pose a question that came into my head during the game, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one in the chat. I want to know, do you guys think that the Rangers should maybe experiment with Mika Zibanejad playing with Lafreniere and Panarin, and if Kreider and Smith are going to have this chemistry, maybe put Trocheck on that line? Maybe it should be the other way around, but I view it as maybe you're going to add a little bit more scoring to that line. I'm just curious what you guys have to think on that one. I'm just throwing an idea out. I'm not saying they have to do it, just throwing an idea out. But regardless, I love what we saw from those two. Riley Smith was very noticeable, especially early on in this game, whether it was just going into the forecheck, being the first guy in, chipping away, setting up scoring opportunities, some of the passes he was getting, and then Kreider had a beautiful backhand pass to feed him at one point for a beautiful scoring chance. Didn't bury it, but regardless, you want to see these things from two guys that are potentially going to be playing together all season long, and that was an encouraging sign, in my opinion, from those two. And then you just had, again, another unbelievable game from Zach Jones. Zach Jones and Victor Mancini, both, the two of them together, were unbelievable. The way Zach Jones was moving up and down the ice, the way that he was jumping up in plays, the way that he was moving the puck, he looked unbelievable. And then I'm really surprised, honestly, Trouba's that high up, but a lot of it is because I saw some people comment about it. A lot of that is because of the offensive play, because Jacob Trouba was very active in the offensive zone, but the defensive metrics were a little bit down because when him and Miller were out there together, it really wasn't pretty at times, as we're accustomed to, honestly, and they were on the ice for, I think, both of the goals, actually. I could be wrong about that. No, they weren't, because there was the one goal where Fox had that bad turnover in the neutral zone, and then they came the other way and scored. But the other one, the two of them were out there for, so I got that wrong there. My apologies. But regardless, even Jacob Trouba, as much as I rag on him, he has not been terrible. I mean, if you want to take that as a positive, but right now, you still have some guys that look better than him, like Victor Mancini, unreal. Zach Jones, unreal. And like I said, Adam Edstrom, he needs to be on this opening night roster right now. He needs to be on that fourth line because he just continues to impress, whether it's, I mean, he scored the empty net goal, but besides that, just the decision-making that he has with the puck and even without the puck, just beautiful. And for a guy his size, just moves so well. And the main thing with him is just, again, like, you're getting better play than him than we've seen from Sam Carrick, in my opinion. And do I dare say right now with Kakko, which that line, Kakko, Cooley, Hedel, had some decent chances at times, and I thought Hedel was great, and I thought Cooley was fine, but they just couldn't find the back of the net, and they did have their looks every now and then, but I still want to see a bit more from Kakko. I really do, and I know that the shot on goal total will tell you otherwise with them, but I felt like he wasn't, getting too many great A's outside of that one opportunity he had right in front of the net that he couldn't bury. But I'm not going to rip on Kakko entirely. His game wasn't terrible tonight. I'm just saying that, again, I want to see that third line maybe chip in, or what is assumed to be the third line, maybe chip in every now and then, of course. But yeah, regardless, I don't really have a bad thing to say. The last thing that I will mention kind of has to do with the team itself, with how they played tonight, because this was their best preseason game from start to finish, because offensively, especially that second period, 7 high danger chances at 5v5. 7. They had 17 total in this game, 11 at 5v5. They had 3 in the first period, only 1 in the third, but in that third period, didn't allow a high danger chance. They didn't allow high danger chances all night long. And Peter Laviolette, John Giannone was mentioning this on the broadcast, that Peter Laviolette really pushed for this team to get off to a better start and play better. And I don't care that it's preseason. That's the freaking mentality to have. And this is the type of coach that you want. And I know that we're the second year in, so I don't have to really pump the tires of Laviolette. We know what he is at this point. But it's just so appreciative with him compared to previous regimes and previous coaches, because previous coaches wouldn't be doing that. He had this team prepared and ready to go. He probably had them in the film room ready to go for this game tonight, and it's the preseason. That's the type of coach you need for a Stanley Cup team. And listen, am I saying they're winning the Stanley Cup and does this change my entire outlook of the season going into things? No, this is just a preseason game at the end of the day. But there were a lot of good things in this game to take away, because in the defensive zone, their play was beautiful. Outside of a few hiccups here and there, they were keeping everything to the outside for the most part. There were times they allowed a lot of pressure in the third period, but they did a very good job of keeping the play to the outside, minimizing Boston's opportunities. Like, David Pastrnak was unrecognizable in this game. And again, maybe he's taken the preseason lightly, but a lot of guys that you just, name-wise on the Boston Bruins, whether it's Zacha, whether it's Pastrnak, whether it's Geeky, who's really built himself a name there in Boston, a lot of those guys looked invisible because of how good they were in the D-zone. And again, you got to attribute a lot of that to the way that Mancini played, the way Jones played, even Miller at times, even Trouba at times, for how much I just talked about that they struggled in the defensive zone at times. But then, of course, Adam Fox at times. And then even Connor Mackey, who didn't have the best game. There were times where he was at least noticeable, and he probably had his better game as of lately. I still think he belongs in Hartford at the start of the year. But then you, of course, attribute that to Laviolette having this team ready to go. And then there were times, too, where the forwards were they were back-checking like it's game one of the postseason. Like, did you guys see I think it was the second or third period, where Jacob Trouba and Keandre Miller get put in absolute blender, and then here's Johnny Brodzinski hustling in on the back check to break up a play from a backdoor pass that was going right across that would have been an easy tap-in. Little things like that. Just little things like that. And then you still had Edstrom making plays on the back check. I mean, everyone was pretty much contributing in their own end. And then on top of that, there was a lot of things that I was tweeting about that I freaking loved from this team on the power play, because we didn't really get to see it later on, unfortunately. But early on, they got a lot of power play opportunities, and the power play was set up in they had two guys high and three low. I'm watching Adam Fox down low, and I couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing. They were utilizing the bumper for once, and it worked because Filipino fired one on goal because he just keeps ripping the damn puck, and then Chris Kreider from the bumper gives it over to Adam Fox for a goal. Do that in the regular season, please. Please do that more. And then the other thing we saw from them offensively all night long, not just the power play, chasing rebounds. How many times was I sitting here bitching and moaning last year about how they weren't getting in on the rebounds, chasing the rebounds, scoring on those opportunities? They didn't necessarily score on those opportunities, but they were creating so much havoc in front of the net. And is that something that's going to carry over into the regular season? I pray to the Lord, because if that ends up being the case, I mean, that brings this team to another level here offensively, and that's something that could change the game here at 5v5 entirely, and it's just something to keep an eye out for. Again, I don't want to get too carried away because it is preseason, but regardless, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then this Kreider goal, since I forgot to mention how that play developed, you had Jacob Trouba ripping pucks too. I mean, the defense is getting so much more active in the offensive zone, and I love that too. If that's something that's going to change from the season, I don't want them to cheat for offense entirely with their defense getting too active, but I thought tonight was a healthy balance with that, because You had guys stepping up in the play, and this is what Florida did to you last year. This is what they did to you. I want to see you actually, because all I heard about is how they took notes and it's a learning experience. Show me by doing that. Because what I saw from that is taking a page right out of Florida's books and putting it into your own game. That carries over into the regular season. Then that's going to change things. It's going to change things entirely. And then I'm trying to think of the other things I was about to mention. I just had a thought in my head. Now it just completely went out. But, oh yeah. Speaking of Florida, someone brought up a good point. And I don't want to get too excited and get fans thinking too much, whatever you want to say. But somebody replied to me. I want to get the exact reply because it had me thinking. And I'm not saying that these are comparable in terms of what Victor Mancini is going to be, because I'm not going to jump all the way to that level. But somebody, can I find this reply? But I was saying on Twitter that Victor Mancini, I was just raving about him all night long. And somebody replied to me talking about how could this be the Rangers? And I don't think he meant to compare it player-wise either. I think he just meant it as like, you know, the Rangers find a little bit of a diamond in the rough here, but have their Gustav Forsling, if you will. And again, I want to make it clear, I am not saying they are comparable, and I'm not saying he's going to play to that level like Gustav Forsling. However, could it be their diamond in the rough? I can't find this reply. I've had so many freaking interactions tonight on Twitter that I really cannot find it right now. And it's killing me right now. Really is killing me. Let me see if I could find it. Yeah, I don't know if I can. If you're in the chat, let me know. And I'll give you your credit. But again, I am not comparing the players at all. And I'm not saying that he's going to be an elite player or, according to the NHL, a top 20 player. Give me a break. But regardless, yeah, I do find it interesting to like give, at least put the idea, because that's what you need to win cups. You need guys that just come out of nowhere and step in for you, whether it's a younger player, whether it's a guy you pick up off waivers. You need somebody or a free agent that you don't think is going to be as big of an impact, like Florida did with literally all those things. Again, something to keep an eye on, so we'll see what develops there. Before I get to the chat and everything, I want to check through, because again, I'm just a nerd like that. I'm always taking notes and stuff during the game, and I want to like see if I'm forgetting any key moments throughout the game. I mentioned that they were creating a lot more havoc. Cooley really getting active in front of the net. Hedl just ripping the puck constantly. Mancini doing it with his legs too. I mean, just carrying the puck up the ice. Forget just breaking it out with passes. Carrying it out of the zone. I mean, he is just so quick for a guy of his size. And then you also had a fight as well between Mackey and Kalasek that I forgot to mention as well, if that means anything to anyone. And shout out Louis Domingue in the third period, who faced some opportunities. Shout out to him. And I thought Jonathan Quick was pretty stable for the most part. But, yeah. That's really all I got in terms of the recap. And now I'll get to you guys in the comments to get your thoughts, see what you guys are saying. And, oh, wow, there's a lot of comments. I apologize. And I do apologize if anyone thinks that I'm ignoring them or if I do skip over comments. It's just what happens when I have to go back to the top, read everything. But yeah, leave a like still if you haven't subscribed. Now I'll get to it before I completely get behind here. But Freak saying, it's been a fun preseason. Let's keep it rolling. Yes, next are the Devils. Yes, Edstrom is a keeper. Othman needs a goal, but his breakaway, I think he meant his breakaway, has been great. I mean, Othman needed that goal badly tonight. He needed that. And tonight, I think, won himself some extensive looks with the way he played tonight. I think he won himself some more looks. But Mancini, another masterpiece? Yes. Mancini and Jones will be fighting for that spot. Not early on, just because of the fact that um Ryan Lindgren's hurt, but for the start of the season, while Lindgren is out, yes. And all I could say right now is that, like, I just don't want to hear that they should be playing Chad Ruedel over Victor Mancini right now. Give me a break. Like, what? It's no knock on Chad Ruedel. I think he's a fine seventh defenseman, a guy to have in a pinch. But with the way Mancini's playing right now, Chad Ruedel doesn't deserve to even be in the NHL in comparison. I'm not saying he shouldn't be on this team, and I'm not saying he's not a good seventh defenseman. It's just more a testament to how good Mancini's been right now. But Mancini's like on another level right now compared to where Chad Ruedel is. Debatable, I mean, with Sam Carrick right now, because Sam Carrick, listen, he didn't have a terrible game, but you have so many other guys right now that just look a lot better. Like Rempe in that one game, more impressed with him. Adam Edstrom all preseason long, more impressed with him. Jimmy Vesey all preseason, more impressed with him. Even Johnny Brodzinski, been more impressed with him. What's going on, Random? I have your thoughts on Mancini, Edstrom, and Ernie on the PTO and Louis and Quick and goals? I mean, I pretty much covered all of that, so I'm not going to reiterate my thoughts too much, but Mancini, good. Edstrom, good. Ernie, not great. Louis, Domingue, and Quick, pretty good. We always complain the kids don't get a chance. You're not wrong. Othman should make the roster over Kakko. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I'm not ready to go there yet either, because as much as Othman had a great game, as much as Kakko's been disappointing me, I still want to see more from Othman to win the spot. And it's more about that than Kakko, because for me, I mean, I've been very vocal about my opinions on Kakko, and could it be, again, I've said it before, I don't know if you're going to luck into this thing twice where you have the Lafreniere thing where, you know, a terrible preseason then breaks out in the regular season. I don't know if you're going to have that happen twice here now with Kakko, though, this time. And if it happens, great. I'd love to be wrong, but I don't know. I just don't see it anymore with Kakko. What price do I feel comfortable with paying Igor backup plan? And what would my backup plan be? I'm assuming that's what you mean. But I stand by the fact that 10 million. 10 million is the max that I'd go. And that's not going to be a price point that's realistic, though, at this point. That's the problem, because the Rangers are willing to offer more than 10.5. And he apparently wants more than Panarin. And on top of that, he wants to reset the goalie market. And in my opinion, and we're going to talk about this more, I think I want to do a dedicated live stream to talking about the Igor extension talks and everything, since I really haven't gone in depth. And I think I want to make it a debate type stream where I'm going to give my case and I will let people try to convince me on the other side of things. Let me know if you guys want this stream of why Igor should be paid, because I have a lot of reasonings as to why I don't want him to get more than 10 million. And a lot of that has to do with the goalies that are making less than that are top 5 goalies in the league. Like UC Soros with the cap jumping took a discount. Connor Hellebuck with the cap jumping took a discount. In my opinion, why is Igor an exception here? And again, I get that he has been the backbone for the Rangers at times, and I am not denying that he is not worth potentially 10.5 million. But it's just, I don't know if the Rangers are in the spot where they should be giving him that much. I don't know. That's my opinion of it. If it were up to me, and obviously it's hard to plan this out, and obviously it's hard to speculate who hits free agency and who doesn't, but if I was to ask you guys in the chat this, and I would have brought this up on that live stream, but I'll bring it up now and I'll get your guys' opinions. Would you guys rather the Rangers have Carter Verhaeghe and Linus Ullmark, and then they could probably even have room at that point for a solid defensemen to play on the second pair, third pair, whatever. Would you rather those three or just Igor Shesterkin? Let me know your thoughts. Again, I'm not going to sit here and, ridicule you for having your opinion. I'll respect whatever opinion you have. I just have mine. And that's mine. That's my 2 cents. Is Mancini left or right-handed shot? He is a right-handed shot, but he could play the left side. And we saw him get a couple of shifts with Keandre Miller later on in the game, which was interesting to see. Domingue looked good. Yes, he did. Anything over 11 million, Igor needs to go. For me, it's 10, but I could see pushing it even. Otter got the monkey off his back, and Mancini, yeah. Mancini is making Lavi's job tough, but this kid has been the most noticeable player of the, I mean, he's been the most noticeable guy. And it's not just the preseason game, it's the rookie games too. Like, he was getting in Pasta's grill tonight, man. He was all over David Pastrnak at times, and obviously he took that one penalty on him, but, I mean, he's just doing everything. Huge developmental win if Mancini keeps us up. Damn right. And it just goes to show you when these prospects are developing in college and not with the Rangers. I don't know. And seems to be a trend here. Or when they're developing just not with the Rangers, I should say in general. Edstrom, Big Cook, and Riley Smith isn't disappointing either. We already got more preseason wins than last year, so I'm slightly getting impressed. I don't want to get too cocky, though, because the Devils were undefeated in the preseason, and then that did not mean a damn thing, and they were horrendous. But, yeah, we'll see. I'm impressed, though, with the guys that you named as well. Edstrom makes the roster, hopefully. And, yes, I would replace him, because if he's comfortable playing the left side, why not? Why not do it? So done with Kakko. Marcel Hossa 2.0. Othman has shown more in the preseason than Kakko has. Mancini has to make this team, but if they call up Harper and Mackey this season, then something is wrong. I agree with the last part entirely, and sort of agree with the first part. I guess that's what everyone's saying, though. Everyone's out on Kakko and in on Othman. Listen, I find it hard to disagree with that take, too. I really find it hard to disagree with it, but there also has to be the question of, do you want to wait a little bit more on Othman to see what he does in a bigger role in Hartford and let him develop just a bit more? I don't know. It's kind of that tough line to cross, but all I know is that the Rangers this season right now, more than ever, this is the most competition we've seen the Rangers have amongst themselves in a very long time. Like, you have a lot of forwards right now that are battling it out, and then on the defensive side, the depth guys aren't that impressive, but Victor Mancini is really making it a difficult decision right now, probably, to decide what to do there between, whether you play Chad Ruedel right now in a pinch with Lindgren hurt, or playing other guys. And by the way, Chad Ruedel's right-handed too. So either way, if Chad Ruedel's playing games, you're putting a right-shot defenseman in, unless they are going to put Connor Mackey in instead, which I would be so annoyed. This would be the most, it reeks of just baseball icks that I have, where they're going to put him in just because because he shoots with his left hand. Come on, no, you can't do that. Yeah, I see you guys in the comments. Mika, not great from him tonight. Kind of invisible, but we'll see. Bruins might need to pay Swayman after this game. Oh yeah. What we saw from tonight, yikes for the Bruins goaltending situation, and they'll still find a way to make the playoffs because it's the freaking Bruins, but it's not going to be as easy as it's been in years prior. I feel like I have them probably like third or fourth in that division, maybe even a wild card team this year, but I don't know. I still feel like they're the Bruins, still make it. They always do. And I'm at a point where some of these other teams in the Atlantic, I got to believe it to see it for them to make the postseason. Damn, a lot of people ripping on Mika tonight. I didn't expect too much just because of the fact that it is the preseason. Usually we're a little more lenient with the veterans in these games, but I get it. I get it entirely. Rocco, did you finally unblock me on Twitter? Regular season who gives a flying F who about that? Call me there, the ECF star. I don't know what you're trying to say there. I don't know what you're trying to say there, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's why I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself here. Not going to book the parade after a preseason game, but listen, there was a lot of things that I liked. A lot of things, and it does make me wonder if they could carry some of this over into the regular season, because a lot of what we saw tonight is the traits that they need to develop. But we also saw in October they looked freaking unbelievable on both sides of the puck, and look at what happened down the stretch there. So, and I agree with this. A lot of exciting youth right now. He was also drafted in the 5th round, yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's some comparables, but again, I don't know if I'm ready to... I'm not ready to say that he's going to be that. The D-zone play I really liked, especially on in the first and second periods. Everything was kept to the outside, no traffic in front, and Quick was able to see the puck. Yeah, they need to carry that over. And that's what we saw from them early on last season, and let's just hope that it could be something that stays through the course of the season, and especially in the most important games. Lucas's comment, Rangers undefeated. I'm not even gonna say the name, but since the arrest, yeah, maybe that's what's gonna maybe that's what our rally cry is gonna be. The Mets got Grimace, our rally cry is gonna be that piece of shit getting arrested. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Can you imagine the Mets have Grimace and the Rangers rally around that? That's hilarious though. Dolan would have been up Jory's ass if he did nothing. Carrick signing, in my mind, was just him doing something, so he didn't do nothing. I don't know if I agree with that, just because the Riley Smith trade's kind of like that, in my opinion. I don't know. I still stand by the fact they should have went after like a Blake Lizotte instead if they want someone for that 4th line, or a Craig Smith. Thought those were better options, but everyone out on Kakko tonight. Hope one of the next games features a VC Rempe Edstrom line. I'd love to see that. Rempe at his natural center position and the best wingers he could possibly have this year. Either that or Edstrom at center. I'm comfortable with either, especially the way Rempe looked in that first game. Yeah, I do think Hedl is helping make Kakko look a bit better, but overall, you still need to see Kakko put the puck in the net. Like the idea of a debate stream, I could do that. I'll make that happen. It'll either be tomorrow or Saturday. I'm leaning more towards tomorrow for that stream, but we'll see. Although that would have to be an afternoon stream, and I don't know if a Friday afternoon's a good idea for a stream. I don't know. I'll figure that one out. D-zone play, I really liked. I already read that. How did I scroll back up there? Hedl's finally skating that step of, or taking that step of looking like the play driver that the bottom six needs. He was all over the ice tonight, and his two-way play was impressive. Him staying healthy is so important. Yeah, I mean, he looks better than our $8.5 million center right now. For Hagee, a D-man, all-mark all day, build that depth with the extra cap space. I agree. Just Igor. Igor is generational, and he saves us so much. Igor is good, but I don't know about 12 million. I could see him getting 9 or 10. That's the thing that I wonder, if someone's even going to offer him that much, and if he just circles back to the Rangers regardless. I don't know, but all I know is that if you're asking me, I would rather strengthen the depth of this team over just paying Igor Shesterkin. Kakko looks like he doesn't want to play the sport, always upset, like he's playing through injury, doesn't care. It takes 1-2 years at least to develop. He looks like a rookie. Yeah. I mean, his confidence looks a bit shaky right now. And you could even see, like, after that grade A chance when he didn't bury it, he was frustrated. Like, he knows the deal. And I would love for him to really, like, play with some fire under his ass right now and play like that. And you saw that a bit, because after the whistle every now and then, he was, like, getting in the scrums and stuff. But maybe he is feeling the pressure after all. But right now, we're just not seeing it right now. Yeah, neither did I, Rocco. If Mancini doesn't make the roster, I'm going to turn into Terry Collins when he... Yeah, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be very pissed off if Mancini doesn't make the roster at this point. He has to. Like, he's... I know we said last year Matt Caldwell had to make the roster because of a good preseason, but Matt Caldwell fell off after one point. Mancini, we're not seeing him slow up right now. Kakko has 20 goals by the deadline. Are you trading him? That's the argument that I've had for people that are like, well, the Rangers have to move Kakko at the deadline. The problem is, don't we think the ship sailed now? Because if Kakko is getting traded at the deadline, the Rangers might have to move an asset with him to clear his cap. And I don't know if they want to do that since they didn't this offseason. But then if he's playing well at the deadline, by the time he gets to the deadline, you're not going to want to move him. So I don't know. I really don't. But there's also the argument that you can make where, okay, if he has 20 goals, but on top of that, you know, you got to look at context here where maybe he's still not getting, although it's hard to argue them without power play and penalty kill minutes. And then maybe, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that one, but maybe if there's someone under contract that's better that could help you win now, you still make the move either way. I don't know. But you're going to have to ask me that question if it actually happens, because I, honest to God, cannot answer that without it being a reality. It's like hard to even think about. Mika and Kreider need to get separated, and it seemed like Mika is the problem. I don't see the harm in switching 1 and 2C. I agree with that. I do think they should try Trocheck in the middle of those two, Riley Smith and Kreider, that is, and then put Mika between Lafreniere and Panarin for a game or two. Mustache E. Yeah, I gotta shave a bit of this again. Mullet E, mustache E. If he gets traded, he's going early in the season, in my opinion. I could see that. I could see that as well. I really like Mancini's game, but he's just fresh out of college. Maybe it wouldn't hurt for him to learn how to be a pro in the AHL first. My fear is he won't be able to. My thing is, right now, with the way he's playing, this isn't a guy that has to go through waivers. In my opinion, while Lindgren's out, I don't think it's the worst idea to try playing him with the way that he's looked in preseason. And then if he's not ready, you send him down. You send him down, and then you bring up a veteran if Lindgren's still not ready to go. I don't think there's any harm in at least trying it. And you could argue maybe it will hurt his confidence a bit. But I don't know if it will. I don't know if it will. But I could be wrong. Yeah, it's just for replacing Lindgren for right now. How many prospects are we going to send to the A to fizzle out? Fuck that. Put him in a place and then let him cook. I could see that argument too, with a lot of these guys, because there's only so many times there's only so much time these guys could spend in Hartford before there's no room for them really to grow anymore. And it's like, you got to just try them in the NHL. And it's getting to that point with Othman too. I think he could spend a little bit more time there, maybe, but it's getting to that point with Othman, at least close to it. I get that, though. I get the worry of screwing it up because it's the Rangers. They've done that before. But to counter that as well, we saw Zach Jones bounce up and down between the NHL and the AHL a lot of times, and he took it as, an opportunity to be better. And that's what I love the most about Zach Jones, because instead of sulking that he was being sent down to Hartford, he used it as, I'm going to make the most of my opportunity here, and I'm going to show this organization that they got to play me. And especially last year, we saw it. He really forced the Rangers' hand to not sign a defenseman this offseason, to let Erik Gustafsson walk and play him. And quite frankly, he should have been playing down the stretch over Erik Gustafsson. Robertson, he was once a hyped up prospect. Now he's not even in the convo. To be fair with Robertson, he has never played good enough to get that opportunity. Like, we've seen him multiple preseasons now. I'm not seeing it with him. I see a guy that, like, just can't play with his body frame. Like, he's really bad at skating, and it's really what hurts him the most, because there are times he wants to make the right decision, but he literally can't do it because of the lack of foot speed he has. And there are times where he does make bad decisions with the pucks. I don't know. I just don't see it with him, and it sucks, because he's a guy that I was really excited about when they got him in the second round of that draft class, because he was a guy that was mocked to go in the first round by a couple of scouts and everything. And it just has never materialized for him. And unfortunately, he's kind of just what he is. And I don't know if you're going to get better than what he is, quite frankly, anymore. I really don't. And yeah, it's sad that it's really sad, honestly. Like, this was the camp, and I know I said it last camp, but like, now that we're 6 years removed from him being drafted, like, this is it, man. Like, you gotta make a name for yourself. You gotta step it up. And now all of a sudden, we're 6 years in, and you have a guy that was drafted in the 5th round just 2-3 years ago that has passed him on the depth chart. Like, he even got beat by Brandon Scanlon at this point. Like, Scanlon got a game before him in the NHL. If that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what does. I mean, the Robertson experiment's got to come to a close by when his contract's over. It's got to come to a close. I mean, it's just, or find a partner for him somewhere and just let it be. I don't know. Like, get whatever you can. If it's a 7th round pick, if it's future considerations, like, give the guy a new environment maybe, and that will help him. I don't know, or maybe an AHL swap with players, but I'm not seeing it with Robertson. I'm really not. He's just not. He's just not looking like anything special, and it's unfortunate. There was really no point in signing Sam Carrick, which is why on July 1st I was, like, borderline going insane, to be completely frank with you. And the fact that he was the second free agent off the board. I'm not going to get into that again. I won't. But Ranger, yeah, I agree with that. They should wear. I'm disappointed that my tweet didn't get through to the Rangers at all, because I tweeted when his retirement first got announced that in the Garden, when the Rangers score on the power play, they should play through the arena, Sam Rosen yelling it's a power play goal. Unfortunately, that didn't end up happening because the Rangers just, they don't like fun. That's the unfortunate reality. The Garden, experience wise, has kind of just been declining each year. Yeah, maybe next year, but I'm not hanging out hope for it, because the Rangers honestly are, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it here. They are like really bad with their branding, marketing, everything, and the MSG experience just declines. Like, they get rid of the guitars for the goal song. They get rid of the fan zone. They get rid of the party bus during the postseason. They get rid of so many other things. Like, the merchandise is declined as well, and it's just, again, this is all little things that I probably only care about and no one else probably gives a shit about, but it's just something that, like, you know, I think about time and time again, and just, it makes you upset, because I just remember being a little boy and going to the Garden for the first few times, and it was just like, that place was just special. Like, that place was unbelievable, and it just feels like as the years progress, it just, the fan experience gets worse, and on top of that, you're paying more for a worse product, at least experience wise. Like, I know the team is arguably better than in some years prior, but that's just my opinion. Just mine. I just think I think it's just such a boring experience. Like, compared to when I go to Citi Field. Like, when I go to Citi Field, that place is electric. Place is electric. When I went to Toronto, I mean, even that place had a lot more of excitement. Even when I go to UBS Arena, and I hate to give the Islanders something in anything, but, like, even look at the Pavin Sox thing they did. Like, it's just smart stuff, and it's just like, I wish they cared about the fans a little bit more, experience wise. But that's my rant for the night with that. What do I think of Drew Fortescue as a prospect? I think he's good. I think he's solid, and I think that he's going to be interesting to see. I think he's going to end up being in Hartford next year, the year after. I think he comes over at the same time as Gabe, and I think he's going to be comfortable because of Gabe, and I think that he's going to be a solid puck moving guy for the Rangers, which I'm glad they're focusing on guys that could move the puck. Yeah, I hope Berard gets another game too, especially because I was feeling Berard was passing Hoffman. It's boring as hell. The New Jersey Devils have live punk shows in that arena. The Rangers, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's so boring, the experience at the Garden. It's, you're not getting your worth of $100+ sometimes $200 if it's like an original 6 matchup, and then like $300 if it's the Islanders. You're not getting an experience worth that type of money. You're just not. Like, the game could be exciting, the game could be good, but the little things like that matters. Like, I'm sorry, the karaoke cam's not moving the needle for me to be like, oh yeah, well, I gotta spend $100 because I'm gonna have a fun time with the karaoke cam. Like, no, when they're getting the ever living piss beat out of them, I don't want to hear the fucking karaoke cam, man. You know? Yeah, the Garden had aura, but the purple and green seats, it just did. The old Garden was a vibe. Pre-Chase Bridge Garden. Place also sounded louder. I don't know if it's because the sound traveled better. It's probably that, but just the truth. I disagree with this because they got Fortescue. They got Emery in this year's draft. I think they're starting to build up on their defensive prospects a bit. No quit in New York. Yeah, terrible. Do I think the Rangers should sign, or you're saying I don't think so? No. Sorry, I just don't. Again, I will have my debate with that I'll do a debate stream on that, so I'm not going to get too much into detail on why and everything, but I have my reasons why I wouldn't give him that much money. And there's a lot of reasons why, but it's just not something that I'm going to get into tonight. But I've been going for almost an hour now for a preseason game. That's kind of nuts. So I am going to cut it off here. I do appreciate all of you guys for tuning in and watching. Really do, especially because if you're watching for 50 minutes, a preseason recap, you're a real one. You're a true fan, you're a real one, or you're just a real supporter somehow of my channel, and you somehow find this voice satisfying, which I don't know how the hell that's possible, but regardless, I am going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do not forget to leave a like if you haven't already. Don't forget to subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one.